Our first match from the Falling Leaves playoffs is going to be this PvZ best of 5. As we start off down to the bottom right-hand side with the red Protoss player, this is Trap. And in the top left-hand side, our blue Zerg will be Dragon Phoenix Gaming's Dark. Trap and Dark, best of 5 PvZ. This is a bit of a treat. I actually feel like we got both the stronger matches today now. Yeah, really excited to kind of see what can come up between these two as we get this underway and we see how things are going to go. You know, you expect Dark and Trap to kind of put on some great games, and you know, obviously this matchup has history. GSL finals in season 2 of 2019, for example. You know, Dark kind of really trounced Trap in that matchup, but Trap's PvZ this year's looked way better. I kind of wonder when the last time these two played was. They must have played in something, somewhere, like, because it's not like Dark doesn't play in, it's not like Dark just kind of hides away and doesn't play in anything. Yeah, they play, I mean, they actually played in the round of 16, didn't they? Of course they did. Trap, Dark, Rogue, and Inno were all in the same round of 16 group. They've actually not played that much, though. They played in this, and they played in the GSL Super Tournament earlier this year. And that's it. That is Dark Trap history since they played in the GSL finals last year. So, yeah, okay. And you can see the progress. You know, Trap was losing to Dark all of the time. And the most recent time, he was actually able to pick up the 2-1 victory. So let's see what happens here in this best of 5 as the pro comes in, nibbles the drones a little bit. I'm just going to be seeing our pro continue to fight. So, Hatchery coming down on the left-hand side, a natural expansion getting set up as well. I'm just going to be seeing our probe coming back up to the upper left. Link speed is already on the way in from Dark as our Nexus gets going on the natural. So Nexus onto the natural. Getting this ready to go, and just going to be seeing the Link speed, warp gate, all the usual stuff coming in. Not really much else to say there just yet as the queen about to pop out, and we'll try to chase this probe away. But the third hatchery down the left-hand side is Submarine to start us off. Obviously, kind of a fun, kind of smaller map, and maybe we'll see some aggression from Dark. No surprise to me to see Trap saying, right, let's open Stargate here, because that should keep him very safe against a lot of the attacks that can come his way. You know, whether this is an Oracle or a Void Ray, both give him a lot of defensive options, basically, right at the get-go. That's going to be seeing Feelings chasing that Adept down. The Adept here at the front, going to run into a Queen or so. I'm just going to be seeing again the Stargate going to be finishing up in a few moments' time. The Feelings still moving around from Dark as well as the Adept goes up into the main base. The Feelings, few Queens. That Link speed about to finish. All of this continue to come through. As I do have a couple of Adepts just going to continue to shade forward there. So they will go and shade through. Up the natural into the main base. These Lings wanting to get up here as well to try and maybe get us around, but will not quite be able to. As the gateway goes down from Trap in the main. This Stalker going to put a bit of damage out onto this Overlord, going to push it up to the high ground here. Force it away. As a couple of Adepts come back, and they're going to be able to shade in between the couple of buildings. And this Oracle will provide high ground vision to push the Ovi back once again. So this Overlord is pushed out the front. Stalker able to get that Overlord, and just going to see the rest of the Lings pulling back up the left-hand side. Robo Facility is setting up as well in the main base. So just going to see very typical. Just Stargate into Robo. I'm interested to see what comes out of this Robo and see where we go from there, because there's no Twilight with it. There's the Twilight. Okay. Maybe it's not so weird then. Few drones going down as the Oracles get in. So picking up a bit of damage. +1 melee upgrade coming through from Dark, as that is a lag spike for one of our Korean casters. So hopefully that gets resolved, and we can just resume here nice and quickly.
Game resumed.
3, 2, 1. Go! A Death Shade in as well, so Dark's going to continue to take quite a bit of damage right now. 7 workers killed, he's going to get 8. And that will be the end of this Adept. But 8 workers as you combine the Adepts and the Oracles. And this is really fantastic damage early game here from Trap. He will just drop down Templar Archives. This is kind of that old school style of just going into like an Archon drop on the follow-up to the Stargate. Oh my god, the Oracles are back. They get 5 more kills on the 3rd base. Dark is being pulled apart at the moment. He cannot get anything going for himself right here. Everything's going wrong. Not a great setup for him so far as this Templar Archives comes in on the main base. A couple of gateways at the front. Stalker, Cybercore, Stargate setup as well. These Oracles still keeping an eye on things as the feelings out the front will be chilling as well. And the Abandoned Nest of Dark on the way in the natural expansion. As our Oracles are going to split and go a couple different directions, just kind of watching for stuff like this. These Lings sends one up here just in case Lings find the High Templar. And obviously then the Oracle will be able to protect them as they morph into Archons. So yeah, I don't mind this. Just looking good from Trap so far. I mean, perfect game for him, right? He lost 2 Adepts, but look at the damage he got done. He's had a fantastic setup here. Now these Archons, we'll see what they can do against a Dark that doesn't have a Roach Roaring ready. Against a Dark whose Queens are obviously not really all gathered up in one... Well, they are gathered up in one place. Actually, that's pretty nice. They have it up and it's kind of close to where the Prism drops off initially. Doesn't get the Overlord here. He revelated, so he was getting a bit of the creep at times. Which is fun as well. Shield Battery is going to have to put some work in as these Lings run in, but it is a good defense, and yet again, it's Dark not really getting any damage done, and Trap surviving with everything, not really losing out on much. These Archons will drop down again and just pick away at a few of the Zerglings, which are going to turn back up the left-hand side. Flare is on the way in right here. A couple of Ovies, the Roaches, the Queens, all of this continuing to pour out, and the Archons will get one more Overlord in the center of the map. And this round of Zerglings back again down the right-hand side. As a couple of Archons will come through. Roaches taking some damage. The Queens are here. The Prism taking some shots. A few Banes roll into this base. I mean, yeah, the Archon has the right idea. The Archon is the unit that should go to deal with this. The poor Adepts are a little bit close range. They kind of get caught in that Baneling splash when they get the damage done to kill. As you have Queens are... they're going to get an Oracle. These Oracles have taken a bit of a beating, but boy, have they been heroes. From drone kills through to the Ling defense, they've been really fantastic so far as our missile upgrade comes up. The Roach Speed is on the way. A few extra drones continuing as well. And our 2 Archons. Well, they continue around the top side, and they are going to try and get in toward this main base. So just going to be setting up here. The Archon's going to do pretty well. Picks off the Overlord. Now I'm going to move down and grab a Queen pretty quickly as well. So that Queen goes down pretty swiftly. And again, the rest of these Queens still chasing that Prism around. So Prism back around the top. You have a lot of Lings that are now going to try and dive into this Nexus perhaps. But the army is here. So I don't know what you're really, hoping to achieve as Dark. Hydralisk Den is on the way up as well, by the way. So we're moving toward that. +1 missiles and Roach Speed. It's just all so late. With the damage that Trap has done, Trap is, yeah, absolutely right decision if he wants to go across the map. I'm 100% for this because he has slowed Dark down so much so far. I mean, this attack would come in against maybe +1 and Roach Speed will be here. But the Hydra Den has been built and will not really be a part of this. He's got the Prism. He's got a ton of Archons. I think I'm 100% for taking a fight right now. I don't think this can go really like that horribly wrong for you. As well, the Zealots are chasing down Lings, which are just kind of running away. So it would be probably nice to bring those back to the fight, the Zealots. I mean, the Lings have continued down the bottom side, so they're just not going to be here. So yeah, get those Zealots in the front lines, and then the Archons and Mortals are still going to be able to reach those Roaches. Man, the Lings have just done nothing. They ran to the bottom of the map, and they're still down there. They're just not helping in any way. And the problem is, if these Archons get a moment, they're going to kill off all of these Overlords, and then Dark's going to be supply blocked for days to come. And that's what Trap is realizing. He just pulls back. He says, okay, I'll deal with this. The Lings show back up, but into this many Archons, unlikely to really go well for Dark, as he's losing drones as well. And Trap will clean up for game 1 of this best of 5. Clean game from Trap. Good damage done. Game number 2, and we start off to the bottom left-hand side with the red Protoss player. Give it up if you're cheering on Jinez Trap. In the upper right-hand side, our blue Zerg from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. This is Dark. All right, so game number 2 of our best of 5, and Trap early probe up on the top side of the map is looking for that block on the hatchery. And it's a 16 hatch from Dog. It's gonna be really, really close. He's gonna get it down. 16 hatch is good to get there before the probe gets the block off. So Dark, not forced off into any weird location, not forced to take a third base as his natural. Third base rush. The distance between the main and the third is actually, it feels a bit higher on this map than other maps because you kind of have to go down, out, and then like along. It just, I don't know, something about it makes it feel a bit longer on this map. So in general, the whole idea is blocking that hatchery forces drones to have to walk further to start mining. It just slows you down. It puts you in a bit of a weird position. So that's a lot of what's going on in this. Is just going to be having the probe nibbling away at the back of this mineral line. Extractor finishes up to the side. Hatchery coming down on the natural, and cybernetics core from Trap will set up as part of the wall off. So gets that set up already. Simulator down to the side as you see our probe going to move out and around the back. Just going to be seeing our hatchery finishing in a few moments' time, and our third hatch off to the left is going to be on its way down as well. So looking good at the moment as we see a couple of drones in production. Obviously not really much to say. We're really waiting to see what the tech choice of Trap is going to be, or if Dark is going to maybe switch it up a little bit with some aggro, but it doesn't really feel like that just yet. Looks like we're going to get Ling Speed in a second, and then we're already pulled out of gas to just slow down the gas income. Not really much need for anything after that Ling Speed. Stargate on the way up for Trap. Honestly, I'm not really surprised. Stargate really has become the dominant meta again in PvZ. But what's really cool about it is that we have seen like a lot of different Stargate styles, right? We've seen we've seen a lot of Stargate that, you know, revolves around a Void Ray opening. We've seen Stargate that still goes that typical Oracle opening. Obviously, we've seen some players still playing multi-Stargates with Void Rays. Sometimes you still see multi-Stargate Phoenix. There's been a real good mix of stuff as of late. Step gets up into the main base and is going to pick away at a couple of workers here already. I mean, that's pretty nice. 3 drones now dead in the game. 2 Lings. And this Adept somehow gets to shade down to the low ground. How did he get to go again? That seems unfair. It's going to be seeing our Ling Speed setting up. And on the left-hand side, this Oracle going to come on a bit of a journey to see what he can do. But again, Dark is taking way too much early game damage. This is early game damage that is not really meant to happen, right? And it becomes an issue. It becomes a big problem. Because now you've lost a couple more drones. Now you've lost a 3rd drone. And now we're talking about 7 drones dead in the game. And we're starting to get to repeats of game number 1. And in that regard, why should Trap change up what he was doing, right? I mean, last game was really self-explanatory. Trap goes into the depths, he does some damage, he makes some oracles, he does more damage. He makes an Archon drop, he does some damage, and then he's like, well, I'll just keep making units and kill you. Because I've done so much damage. And right now, this game is heading in the exact same kind of direction. There's going to be a Twilight Forge follow-up, though. So it's not Robo Twilight, it's Twilight Forge. Which probably means we will not see an Archon drop. Oh my god, no Spore in this natural expansion. 4 more drones go down, and the Oracles are both out alive. It probably means we'll not see a Archon drop, but instead we'll probably see like Blink and +1 right away. So something a little bit different, but I mean, that can also be used in a very deadly manner if you find yourself the right opportunity to come across the map and to just hit a big timing. So something else to be careful of. Blink and +1 is my suggestion here. Let's see if that's going to be the way. It's going to be Charge. Okay. In that case, we're probably going to see Temple Archives. And in that case, I'm very surprised not to see a Robo at all. There's Temple Archives. No Robo, though? I mean, if you've got no Robo, then it's difficult to get aggressive anyway, right? But then, especially no Robo, no Immortals? Like, it's just going to be Charge Archon? Very interesting. I'm not being crazy. I didn't just miss the Robo. Nope. There it is on its way down now. So no, still no Archon drop, but just setting up a little bit. This time melee upgrades on the way in, so it looks like we're going to be a bit more kind of Ling Bane focused, and then the roaches behind the rest of this. Seems to be the initial plan. As our roach drone coming up here from Dark is going to be finishing fairly soon. The extra gate's coming down. Charging +1 still coming in. Robo facility about to complete, and our Lings from Dark will turn back down the left-hand side. Couple oracles still hanging out overhead, and obviously those Lings are going to keep on scarpering around looking for opportunities. The hallucination here from Trap is going to move up and have a little check into this main base. I'm just going to be seeing the rest of our Ling Roach army setting up and around, as well as do have 12 more roaches continuing on up here. Gonna see a couple of these group teamers going down, as we do have the roaches and the queen still moving around the side. Extra roaches on the way out, +2 attack on the forge. In the end, Trap is gonna fall back for the moment. Not really surprised by that per se. Don't think he was really ready to get going right there. 9 goes into an Archon drop. So obviously not really like as quick as the last time around. Doggy that these drones could maybe be hunted down. He's actually had 3 kills. Again, it's pretty decent damage being done by Trap, and Dog is just going like masses of drones. Again, I kind of asked, is Trap not in a position to maybe go? Initially, like when he turned around before, I didn't mind that so much, but now I'm looking at this and like, yeah, maybe he can do something here. Looks like he just wants to take a 4th base and let this play out a little longer though. And just let this play into some later stages of the game. Gonna see our army of Trap moving out the front. Just gonna see our Oracle into the center, just hanging around. Gonna drop a Revelation and just be a little bit aggressive. Archon, a few more Zealots coming through, and then we're just going to have our Archon showing up for the top side here. Going to start getting rid of a few drones, so Trap does end up committing through to the fight. Force fields are really good. This base, I don't think can be saved. Why is there not a single... I mean, there is a Ravager, but like, took very long for the Ravager battles to come down. I don't even know where the Ravager is, if I'm going to be honest. I can't see it, but there were a couple of battles that came down there. Trap, gotta be a little bit careful here as he gets chased down. The Archon's trying to micro. The splash damage they can still provide is a lot. As these roaches continue through, I actually think Trap is going to be okay here as Dark loses 10 drones in this attack. The hatchery already went down as well, remember, and he's now going to cancel this base top right. +2 melee, +1 carapace continuing through is just going to see our Prism, a few Zealots. Going to go around that right-hand side. So that's going to go out and around the right. Roach Ravager from Dark coming through. Going to get a little bit of a catch here with the Prism now leaving. So the Prism has left these units in a little bit of trouble. I mean, if you get Zealots into the main, though, it should pull Dark back, slash it should allow for something. I mean, Zealots unloading. I wouldn't even mind him warping in, like, a whole warping of Zealots. Doesn't have that much money for it, though. Roaches do turn back around. Dark has survived, 80 drones still in play. Obviously 80 drones that aren't mining properly because the 4th base isn't currently running, but it's still 80 drones. It's still going to be a good economy once that 4th base is back up again. And that's why we're heading to right about now. Ravager heading down the bottom right. The Archon will continue to back away. The Prism continue to pull back as well, as a couple of these Zealots still setting up. +1 missiles already coming up from Dark in the top side here. I'm just going to be seeing our Storm, a couple of extra Immortals. All of this continuing through as this Roach Ravager army continues to set up off over to the left-hand side here. Now, a few Zealots make their way around the Prism. Still trying to find a way in here as well, trying to figure out where he wants to go to. As the Lings are going to move down the left-hand side. Double cannons already in a good position to push those Lings back. That Zealot gets caught, and the other few Zealots will come around as well. Lings will get a surround there on that one, and just going to push those Lings away up the left-hand side once again. There's a few of these Dropper Lords on the way in. Prism gets back down the right-hand side. Ling Roach, Ravager making its way forward as well. So everything else here from Dark just kind of rallying around the right side of this is Zealot and Mortal Archon able to pick off some rocks in the center here. A few more High Templar continue to join up, and well, there go the few of these Banelings from Dark going to move out over the left-hand side. Army of Trap is going to move up through the middle of the map. I mean, it's a lot of Banes coming into play. Trap is also maxed out, though, with Storm available, but you can't just go dropping your Storms on Roaches and Ravagers. You need those Storms to help with the Banelings, for sure. It's a lot of Zealot Archon that goes up the left side. Remember that there's Baneling drops over there that could maybe come in to be useful in that position. Yeah, Trap's struggling to get his High Templar out and to focus on this, but to be fair, he doesn't need to commit to that fight because he's got so much damage output up on this side. You already see 8 drones going down, which is a pretty big deal. So that Hatcher gets picked up, another Storm going in. Roach Ravager still being chased away up the top side. You're going to see these couple of Overlords in some trouble. I mean, the drone count is just dropping so quickly. I think if nothing else, that's the problem, right? Where the drone count's disappearing. Now the Baneling count, by the way, is also non-existent. All we really have are these Dropper Lords that are going to move in, but these Dropper Lords are going to move in and be like a final kind of like, hurrah, like I did something, because everything else is going down. Without the proper support for Roach Ravager, it's just not going to be any good. GG, Trap takes a 2-0 lead here against Dark. Trap looking really good so far. Really solid series from him. He's the red Protoss on the bottom right-hand side. Taking on the blue Zerg top left. Dark cannot get anything going for himself here. Really just taking too much early game damage. The Adept defense is poor. The Oracle defense is also poor. And, you know, you just gotta come out and say it, right? Because that's why Dark is dying. He's getting off to bad starts. That makes the mid-game Trap pushes that much more difficult to defend. And you know, that last time around, he loses the 4th base, he's in a bit of trouble, and then the second attack just has a ton of Zealots on the top. He's got to try and defend on the right. He does get a hatchery block down, though, so he is going to get a hatch block here, and that's going to force a Zealot in a second gateway, so there is some benefit right now for Dark in this. He is going to slow down this Nexus by a little bit and put himself into a bit of a better position going from this way forward. Just going to see a couple probes in the Zealot continue to swipe their way through this. The Overlord of Dark coming forward. The second Zealot popping out, and we'll go onto that hatchery. So keeping the pressure up, putting some damage out. Adepts are on the way through as well. With that warp gate just ticking along on the cybernetics core, and there is our drone that gets chased up into the main base. So drone chased up into the main. Just going to be seeing the probes pulling in, and ooh, drone nearly going down. Here comes the Adept as well to chase that drone down up in the main. Alright, drone gets picked off as we do have our 3 hatches down. Dark's just going to Ling Flood. You know, it's kind of funny though, because you're kind of forcing. Is he going to Ling Flood, or is this just the defense against Zealot Adept? I think he wants to truly Ling Flood here. 2 more Adepts on the way, though. I mean, it's kind of going to work because Trap's being aggressive. These Lings are set to go. Trap needs to figure out how many Lings there are right now. No drones here. Trap needs to start realizing this. His units being on the map is obviously very bad for him because the moment speed kicks in... Yeah, now he's already got Lings in his base, and his next Adept rallies out onto the map as well. Oh, Trap, you gotta do something, right? Like, you've got Lings in your main. Okay, one Adept now turns back around. As soon as he sees Ling speed, maybe he can actually respond to this in some way, but I think it might just be too late. Dark has a lot of Lings. He should see just... I mean, the thing is, you're seeing so many Lings, but then it maybe doesn't quite click. Now, this actually isn't a good fight for Dark, though. He doesn't really have the numbers there just yet. Trap gets the Adept into the wall. No, it's gonna walk through. He needs a wall off. I mean, he should kind of know that, though, right? He sees the lings coming. He knows there's ling speed. He knows there's a lot of lings. Like, he's got to know. Okay, he warps in an adept. Oracle is on the way out here from trap as well. Dog's already starting to drone. I mean, I'm not even convinced this was a ling flood versus he was just making a lot of... I mean, it kind of definitely is a ling flood, right? But I wasn't convinced that it wasn't necessarily just lings building to initially defend that that initial setup, which was obviously a little bit wonky. This adept's going to shade back. This adept, where Zelda just warps in, will be good to defend. Yeah, this was a very wonky way to get going. Huh. Very, very funky way to get things started for sure. Alright, couple of Spore Crawlers dropping down. Doc getting those ready to go. We do have a Queen just out the front, moving around a little bit, and the Oracle is coming up to completion here as the Robo Facility will drop down from trap, perhaps. There are 2 more adepts from trap just going to warp in. Spore Crawler's good, putting some good damage out on that Oracle, which gets pushed up to the top side. Again, a few extra drones continuing into play. Spore Crawl on the way through. This Queen is about to finish up. These drones are just AFK. Little mistakes right now from Doc. Yeah, even though this time the Oracle doesn't get as much damage, the damage is already there just because of how Doc opened. I really don't like this at all. Alright, so just going to be seeing these lings turning back up the top side. I mean, adepts and oracles together. We only have lings and queens to fight this, so it's possible that we get some decent damage here. There's actually a 3rd oracle as well, so this is actually a lot of potential damage output. But the 3rd oracle turns back around, and we'll keep the 3rd base safe. I actually don't mind that decision. You've seen a lot of lings in this game. That's definitely a position down there that can fall apart if some lings flood into it, so definitely something to worry about. Dives in, a few drones go down right away. Ooh, loses an oracle. Okay, you lose 1 oracle. Lings moving across the map. The oracle here is actually going to see those lings coming as the adepts are going to get back. There's a battery and there's a sentry. Just needs the adepts not to be out in the open, of course. Get pushed back. Rotoron's about halfway done. The evolution chamber about to complete, and a few extra gateways still on the way down as our oracles will move on up to the top of the map. 14 drones still coming into play, plus 1 missiles. Rotoron, all of this continues to set up as our oracles come through to pick away at a whole bunch of drones here, so and a fair few extra kills. I mean, that's 5. He comes back in for 6 and 7, and dare I say this oracle survives? I do dare say it, because it gets out of there. Again, it's just so much damage, right? Like, look at this. 14 drones and 34 lings. Resources lost is one-sided. And Trap has mined more than Dark on top of this for not only all of the game long, but overall definitely has mined more as well. So, again, it's trap, trap, trap. And, yeah, I was going to say, you want a force field, but those were not the force fields I was expecting. Those were kind of weak for trying to catch extra lings. Not sure what Trap was going for there, if I'm going to be honest. Well, a whole bunch of extra roaches coming in, a Ravager morphing 2 off 64 workers. I kind of wonder if Dog's just going to go like 64 drones and just try and commit. Blink is on the way, though, so he's going to be well set up here, Trap, to deal with a Roach Ravager army. Blink is obviously great against Roach Ravager. Really just, I mean, Stalkers in general just great against Roach Ravager, right? And when you add that Blink in, obviously they're a little bit better. Now you can maybe even Blink after these Lings a little bit too, so you're cleaning out some of those. Dark's morphing in 11 Ravagers, but he now starts up a few more drones, so maybe he's not just going to go for this. A Robo Facility and a Robo Base, so maybe thinking about going into some Colossus/Disruptors here. And Disruptors would be fantastic against all these Ravagers, but yeah, maybe, I guess Dark was just building units because he also didn't have anything else to build. His 4th base wasn't ready to go, so no reason to keep on droning. Three drones picked off. And that +1 missiles is going to be coming up. And that Robo Bay about to finish up here. A few gateways from Trap set up out the front, and we do see the couple of adepts from Trap going to shade through, and just going to get in on top of this, so going to get rid of a couple of drones. 2 drones do go down. The oracles join back up together and they'll go for a flight through the middle of the map. I'm going to see the Ravagers, but do you want to waste your energy on this when they can run away? Probably not. I kind of like the Spire on the way up right now from Dob, because at the very least, Corruptors are going to be pretty useful against the Colossus production. I wonder if we see any Disruptors. You know, I feel like Colossi initially, okay, I get it. But I would love to see just one, even one Disruptor. Just mid-fight, one Disruptor can do so well to force the Zerg back. It can do so well to just, if the Zerg doesn't respond, then boom, you get a big connection, right? Yeah, I wouldn't mind sneaking in one Disruptor after 3, maybe 4 Colossi. Force field here initially, so these Lings are fighting on their own until these Corrosive Vials come in. Oracles kind of taking some damage there from the Corrosive Vials as well, but yeah, okay, a little bit lazy on the Oracles because they could have just continued to be an ultimate defense. So it doesn't micro those back away from the Vials, but overall is good. And as a Disruptor, yeah, I really like it. Especially when you just look at what Dark is playing. As the Spire finishes, are we just going to see it? I mean, do we see... It can't possibly be a ton of mutas against this many Stalkers, right? That's just not a thing, is it? He's banking money, though. He's going to build something here. And to me, to bank that much money, I think you do build mutas. But now he spends it on roaches, so his lava on roaches at least, so he will not go mutas yet. He goes tunneling, pause, and burrow. Alright, Roach Ravager still moving down the side. A couple of Disruptors still on the way up here from Trap, as we're going to be seeing everything joining together. Two Colossi shots coming down. Ling's going to continue to chase on in. Force field's coming down across the board, blocking that Roach Ravager army out from getting any further forward. 7 more mutas on the way in from Dark. Plus 2 missiles is about to finish up on this Evo chamber, and yeah, I do think the mutas were kind of what was obviously meant to be coming eventually, but now I look at this and there's 7 of them, and okay, like if you hit a mineral line with 7 mutas, you know what? I don't think it does enough. I don't think it does anything really to help you out, so I'm not a massive fan. Dark running around the map with a low tier army, trying to just mass units and use that as a way to make this work, but it's I mean it's keeping Trap busy. I also would like to remind you that this has all happened with 75 drones against 75 probes. So the economy isn't exactly great for Dark either. You know, with a style like this, you oftentimes are doing it off like 80, 85 workers, and then you can rebuild and remax that kind of smaller army a lot more easily as the mutas fly through the 3rd into the natural. There's also a cannon here. Like, I don't feel like there's any good place to stop for these mutalisks. That's the problem, right? They go into the main. That's an issue too. Roaches, though, going to burrow up underneath this army. So they get right on top of it. I don't know how great that really is. Corrosive Vials come down. I've got no idea what's happening in this fight because these roaches just unburrowed on top of everything. The Disruptor shot was pretty good on the Ravagers, but now Trap seemingly has enough to blink forward, which to me says that he's very confident about just winning this fight. 38, 40 roaches in production. There's a lot of roaches on the way. The mutas are still being annoying, but it's drones that are going down and not probes. As it feels like Trap has the mutas under really good control. The mutas are not going to do anything. He kills this base. This hatchery may yet go down as well, and that keeps Dark on 4 bases. And yeah, I think Trap just backs away. He can rebuild just as Dark can, and now he knows that roaches have burrow. He can maybe just add an observer into this army. He's got to be a little careful. His army is very low on the tech count. Warp Prism needs to save this Colossus. He doesn't have a lot of reliable splash damage in the form of like Colossus and stuff. That's a big blink forward, but he's got the Disruptors to force the roaches back, so they can't really chase. But now it's a bit of a surround. Disruptor's going to fire at the same time. He kind of does okay. The Colossus is still in the Prism. The Stalkers are just straight up fighting these roaches and Ravagers off. And as extra Stalkers come into play, Dark supply is just not there. And Trap has way too much. And Dark is going to be eliminated. There is just not anything left. Roach is going to go burrowing through. The Stalkers will blink over the left-hand side. These roaches and these Ravagers are chased on down. Yeah, okay. Checks the Stalker's going to warp in, and army still continues up the top left. Let's see the Colossus here. A few of these roaches still going down. The rest of this one, Trap going to blink forward and a bit more creep being cleaned out. Present goes down. Ooh, those corrosive bars are pretty juicy. But you're still fighting with a Roach Ravager army. And that's the issue, that you're on Roach Ravager. Trap falls back, I think, obviously wants a Prism in the fight, so we'll just fall away for the moment or two. Give it a few moments to get reinforced, and then perhaps go pushing again. Shock gonna fire up the ramp, hits a big set of Ravagers. I mean, that's I mean, at this point, stuff like that's just deadly anyway, right? As Trap moves in, he's gonna essentially find half the army. He's gonna zone the other half out with Disruptors. Hive on the way. I mean, obviously Vipers would have been amazing during all of this, as Disruptors are just hitting everything. Vipers would have been amazing. Getting to Lurkers would have been great, but Trap just was too good in this series. He just demolished Dark. It's not very often Dark